Welcome into another edition of Inside Tiger Football presented by Rib Crib. Dylan Rivera here sitting across from head coach Travis Hill. Another week down, and you are now at the midway point of the season. 5 games down, 5 games to go. Let me ask you first, how are you feeling about your team right now?
Feeling good. That question's it's with that point in time in the year, it's a great evaluation time. You've had enough now to know what you're seeing is exactly what you're seeing. But our kids are coming together. We obviously made a move in the right direction this past week. So, no, I'm very happy. And like I said, the reinforcement since the game and the practices we've had since point A to point B, since that game 5 halfway through the year, have been very productive, very good practices, very focused in stuff.
Well, speaking about that game 5, you go out, you get a 42-14 win over Yukon. Just your general thoughts from that game, takeaways that you had, those sorts of things.
What you saw is far fewer mistakes. Now, there's still a point in time in the game where, it's 14-0 and we're getting ready to kind of go ahead and ice it as early as we can, and we fumble, okay? And so it takes us a while to recuperate from that to get into that halftime with that 3-possession lead, 21-0, because that's what we're always working toward. That's just me and a little bit of philosophy on my behalf. 3 possessions means you got control of the football game. Anything besides that, it's always a dogfight. So we finally got control of the football game, but you saw far fewer mistakes, and what you did see was some special teams that I could actually say this week went from, very low grade, I'll just leave it at that, to a very high grade, to what we call special teams. They were very special the night, and they accounted for a lot of our opportunities, field position. So definitely happy with where we stand as far as our attitude, our direction, and much less the way we went about our business last Friday.
Well, we talked about in the early part of the season that this team was going to have to learn how to win. Mm-hmm. They go out, they get a big win on the road. It's easy to come back and say, you know what, we got things in the bag. Yeah. And against an opponent this week that you really might be able to look past if you're not careful.
Correct.
Is this a game or a week where you've been able to kind of hone in and get these guys to get their mind right?
Let's just look at it all and let's figure this out, okay? We won one and lost one. We won one and lost one. Now we won one. Where are we going to go this time, okay? Mm-hmm. We need to win. And the evaluation comes back on. And as I mentioned, it's like life. You did a great job over here, okay? Your wife loves you, okay? Great job. But, you got to do it again and again and again and again. And those are just things that we got to learn. So, the evaluation, again, will be here on the 10th of October, a homecoming, and things that we'll probably bring up here in the near future. But, no, the evaluation's on again. I think we're moving in the right direction, but I think we'll get you in trouble. We got to see it again, and we got to work toward that. And that's kind of been my push this week is the littler the thing is, the more we're going to correct it. Mm-hmm. And hopefully just toning that in and making sure that they understand the direction of winning football, because they're very capable of it, and they've showed that. Very talented group of people, that great kids, just, like I said, continue to learn the process. So it's going to be fun to watch.
I know that for parents and for fans and for broadcasters, it's fun to see the guys who don't get out on the field so often get in the game.
Oh, yeah.
For a head coach, how does that feel when you're able to deploy those guys?
I told you guys, my little after the game endeavors is that's my man cave, like all of us. And I really do. I just think it's so unique whenever I can pop up a face that's smiling, that's happy, that progressed forward. And that could be from one of our kids that plays all the time to a kid that gets out the opportunity. So, no, it's great to see that. What's even neater is because they always get in there, they do well typically too. Mm-hmm. So to see a Jack Gardner, which I think is on the verge of being a great safety for us, a great player, that's not getting his – I mean, I know this. You say, well, how do you do it, Coach? It's hard. It's earning, and things got to work out, right time, right place. But a kid that probably deserves more reps than what he's getting, from first quarter on. But he gets in a night, makes great plays, just keeps proving himself. So just excited for that's one of many. But that's the face that I remember just seeing. He's getting it. He's got it, okay? And we need to continue to encourage and watch him continue to grow. And there's several other ones, but to answer your question, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, Tigers get an emphatic victory in Game 5 of the season. We're going to break it all down, starting with the offense coming up next on Inside Tiger Football, presented by Rib Crib.
While you are teaching someone special the nuances of keeping the wheel steady, we can provide you means for you to maintain financial equilibrium. First National Bank of Broken Arrow. First people put people first.
Hey Tigers, I'm City Manager Michael Spurgeon. The city is preparing for the next general obligation bond election in April of 2026. Just like the improvements to Albany Street in front of the high school, bonds help pay for upgrades to public infrastructure like streets and intersections, public safety services, parks improvements, and more here in our great community. To find out more about the bond process, visit the city website. Thank you for helping us build our future. Broken Arrow, enjoy the rest of the game.
Welcome back to Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib. Going to break down the offense now, and I've got head coach Travis Hill sitting across from me, Dylan Rivera here. Should be a lot of fun to get into some of these weeds because there's a lot of positives, but there's also still some negatives. And I hate to start with the negatives, but that's where I'm going to kick things off is, the offense puts up 42 points, or that's what the final number is, but 4 offensive touchdowns, and 2 of them you march down the field, but the other 2 you kind of get field position down in one end of the end zone. So you've got some ups and downs. Do you feel like you saw improvement?
We did, and like I said, I say that because, as you said, short field should turn into points, and we did. So that was the complementary part of the football team. Defense is, making good plays, gets the offensive position to take care. Offense take advantage of it. So I do think we've done a lot of things to move the right direction. So some consistency there that we still, as that's what you say is a negative, yes, and still to a certain extent a small identity deal there on offense. But it's getting better. We made a step in the right direction. So that's all you can ask for. And as I said, that's the uniqueness of the game of football. You have to wait a week, unlike other sports where you may play, 2 nights after a win or 2 nights after a loss and get out. You got to wait a week. But in that, let's see again if we can continue to progress. But like I said, we didn't hurt ourselves as often with behind the chains, pre-snap penalties. We were a lot more clean in those areas. So I do think we did the right direction, and we'll continue to improve in that area.
I'm glad you brought up the word identity. That's something that I've been curious if you feel like this offense has an identity yet.
Yeah. It is. I see it because I see it on a daily basis. So I get to see that in practice too. So I do know it does have one. It's almost like you kind of want it to be a little secret because you'd hate for the other team to kind of say, okay, this is what they know they do really well now. But it's common sense. You see it. I mean, you either see it or you don't. Probably don't need to be coaching if you don't see it. But we are working on an identity. We feel like we got it. That's not as easy as people think it is. Well, hey, that's easy. No, because you're dealing with, it's a chess piece, okay? But this chess piece happens to have a brain, okay? So it doesn't just make one movement. It may make that movement one time, and the next time, doggone it, you did it a different way. Why? Again, the identity, I believe, is there. It's now, can we get the consistency so we can identify that week in and week out, play by play, know what we can do, know what we can't do. And so that's what we're really pushing forward is that type of idea. And like I said, it's coming. It's coming.
Well, one thing that was a real strength against Yukon was the run game. You had 3 guys with over 50 yards, and that's pretty significant. It's not easy.
Nope.
Do you feel like there was a lot of success there against the Millers?
Yeah. And if you want identity, I mean, if you really say preseason, what do you want to be able to do? Well, before every game, my preach is you better be able to run the football and you better be able to stop the run, okay? So with us being able to be consistently running the football, pretty consistent through most of the first 5 games. So, we had our ups and downs with it and like I said, inconsistent. But that is probably where we're heading, and it is nice, and we do have a stable of backs that can do a great job. All the quarterback concepts that we can put in, all can run the football. Jeremiah does a wonderful job with his legs. So that is something that, yes, we want to create an environment that because that's a physical environment and something that I'm impressed with and very, very happy that we continue to do because I do think offense wins games, defense wins championships, offensive linemen are the nucleus of all that. Little philosophy thrown in there out of nowhere, but bottom line is real simple. We've got to be more consistent there, but our run game is definitely something that we think we can hang our hat on.
Yeah. Well, in part that comes back to Levy Adcock, and so I'm curious, what's the workflow like? Because on the outside, you've got Levy Adcock doing the run game coordinating, but you've also got offensive coordinator Jay Wilkinson.
Yep.
How do they work together to scheme a game plan?
Extremely well, and you think we kind of do the same thing defensively, but we're asking offensively. Jay is the play caller. No, There's no questions asked. Everybody knows that, knows what's going on. But Jay's got to depend on somebody, and what a better guy than your offensive line guy. Those are your two guys, man. That offensive line coach is his most important position to hire, maybe on the whole staff, maybe not much less. And so Levy obviously came over, was our offensive coordinator over at Muskogee, came in, does a great job, been a head football coach, very knowledgeable about what needs to be done across the board in every aspect of the football game or coaching the game of football. So what a great asset for us and for Jay. And so he knows where to pull and resource from. So it's neat to watch Levy piece those things together and has narrowed that down to some of our better stuff that we do and what he's capable of. So it's fun to watch. That's where I get a kick too, watching our coaches grow and watching that dynamic of them working together. It's working.
Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of explosive plays against Yukon, and that's something that I feel like has been there but not been there for this team. So getting to see those explosive plays, and I remember 3 off the top of my head. There may have been more, but do you feel like that really opens up your offense, and how does it?
Every offense, I believe that you got to vertically stretch the other team, and you got to have those home run hitters, okay? Well, we have that, okay? So we can vertically stretch you with our receivers and our game plan, so you have to defend the whole field. You don't get to jam the box. We talked about the run game. If you can't throw the football, then it's not as easy as to run the football. So, and I feel like we got those home run hitters. I mean, Octavian Roberson is his example. Every time he touches the football, because of his unbelievable speed, okay? He creases you, he's gone. You're not going to catch him. But yet his complement with Corey Sengo is he's got great speed too, but it's a different vision back that's just an extremely good complementary back with Octavian. Out wide with some of the people we put out there, they're very, very, they can run, good size and everything like that. And then it's fun to sprinkle in a guy by the name of Samaj Stanford. I mean, when you sprinkle that in, and there's a purpose we do it. Difference maker, another home run hitter. You got to defend and know where he's at, so he's utilized in a lot of ways and is a big advantage to us.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about Samaj Stanford here in a moment. We're going to break down the defense coming up next on Inside Tiger Football, presented by Rib Crib.
Get your taste buds ready, because we're bringing all the drip and none of the drama with our new sauced and tossed Tender Bites. They're juicy, crispy, and sauced like a boss. Bite into your new obsession. Only at Slim Chickens.
Hey Tigers! Get the only card that donates to Broken Arrow Public Schools every time you use it. TTCU Federal Credit Union has donated more than $360,000 so far. Support the Tigers with your card today.
Tulsa Bone & Joint, Northeast Oklahoma's sports medicine experts. We are pleased to help you and the athletes in your life with a number of surgical and non-surgical options. Tulsa Bone & Joint is proud to serve as team orthopedist for local high schools such as Broken Arrow, Owasso, Sapulpa, Cascia Hall, and Bishop Kelly. Tulsa Bone & Joint, moving life forward.
Welcome back to Inside Tiger Football, presented by Rib Crib. Dylan Rivera with head coach Travis Hill sitting across from me. Going to break down the defense from the Yukon Miller game, and the Tigers looked really strong defensively. First thing I'll start with is you had to assume they were going to come out and want to run the ball. You end up making them change course, and they have to pass the ball to try to get the ball downfield. How did you manage to get them to change the game plan a bit?
Well, it's just a challenge to your kids. Obviously, the week prior to that, we had a 200-yard rusher against us, and probably lost the football game. As I said earlier, philosophy couldn't stop the run consistently the week before. So we knew that was the challenge this week, and our kids took on the challenge. So, like I said, kids win ball games, not coaches. We knew what we needed to do. I think our kids knew what they needed to do, much less had to be sold on it. So just buckled down and attacked a little bit better up front. Defensive line reset the line of scrimmage and played good hard-nosed football. And as you said, directed the game instead of being directed. And so we challenged them with that, and it's easy to call plays, and that's what you do defensively too. It's calling plays, calling situational football. When it's 3rd and long, they're playing behind the chains. We're able to stop the run. That makes a lot more, and then we took advantage of it with a couple of picks that came up to be big and advantageous for us.
You talked about at halftime on our broadcast with Madison Dildine about wanting to come out and get a 3-touchdown lead. It ends up being 21-7 near the end of the 3rd quarter, and they had closed that gap a little bit.
Yep.
Talk about your team's response after that, because it went from 21-7 to quickly 28-7, and things just kind of kept going in the right direction from there.
Well, you see why I won it. I mean, it's just such a huge factor on how the other team has to play. Now, it's not as big a factor early in the game, obviously, because there's time to repent, so to speak, and redirect what you're doing. But I was frustrated again when we were there and then lost it, got back to 21-7. It's just a danger zone. You're 2 possessions. Well, you're 1 possession to be back to where the game is. It can go either way. So once we did get that again late in the 3rd quarter, well, you saw the landslide happen after that. So that's a typical thing. It's not because the other team gave up. It's just at the confidence level. You've changed the way they got to play the game. You're dictating to them what they got to do now. And you have them on their heels. And when you have another team on their heels, if you're any good at all, and you got some good football players, which we do, you see the end result. We was able to go ahead and reinforce the idea that we're the better team tonight, and went ahead and put it on ice, and Coach Hill slept better. Yes.
You talked about the picks, and Samaj Stanford gets a pick 6, the first of the season for Broken Arrow. Also gets a scoop and score off of a blocked field goal attempt. Also a first for this season, that scoop and score. So exciting to see a guy on defense come up big on the score sheet. But he also did it on special teams as well. He was all over the place. But, man, can you quantify what he does for your team?
I'll say it again. And, as a coach, all those kids are kids. And it's like when you raise your family, Tyler and Madison are my 2 young ones, and you don't play favoritism. So I don't towards Samaj. But it's hard because he does everything right. Everybody says because he's so good of an athlete and a football player. No, he's the first one on the field. When we got specialties, come on, everybody else, get out, let's go, and he's there. He's the last one to leave. You go look at his film work every week. We can pull that up on the computer. The film work's being done. He knows, and his intelligence is just as important to him, which goes 1,000, of his ability to run a 10-500 meters. Okay, and so that's what makes him special. He is a complete ball player with a 3.8 GPA, and his accountability, until I find out elsewise or see elsewise, is the same everywhere he goes. Just not when we see him, but everywhere he goes. So it's special to have around. It's a great thing to have around because people can look, and it's sometimes, we all learn in certain ways, but it's visual and seeing it. So, he's a good one to have around, and I'm just happy for him. And like I said, my comment to him typically is just pretty simple. Samaj, go be Samaj.
Yeah.
So.
Madison Dildine was able to catch up with Samaj earlier this week for a great conversation about the Yukon game.
Madison Dildine joined by this week's difference maker of the game, junior Samaj Stanford. Samaj, what do you think is contributing to your success on the field so far?
I would say the preparation we have throughout the week, starting with Coach Hill, from Coach McKnight to Coach Reed, DB coaches, everything. I would say that would be the most important role. And then having good practices, I feel like the team has come more together. So those are things for sure.
Coach Hill talks a lot about your football IQ and how high it is and how sometimes you can just coach yourself. What contributes to that? I
would say my dad. He had me playing football at an early age, watching football. And another person is my brother. I watched football with him growing up a lot. So those two put it into me as a young age, football, game football. So just watching it, growing up into it, that's what really did it.
Lastly, what's something that you're proud of personally from your performance against Yukon?
I would have to say the block. I blocked the field goal and scoop and scored it. I know Coach Hill, we were practicing over there a lot. We changed something up, and he was like, either you or Noah is going to go get it. And he called it, so we went full speed, 100% effort, went to go get it, and then the scoop and score, that was my favorite part right there.
That was junior Samaj Stanford, your difference maker of the game. Dylan?
Thank you, Madison. Dylan Rivera, head coach Travis Hill. One last question for you based on defense, but really it's not really defense, it's special teams. I want to ask you about that. and you had mentioned it in the early going of this show, is the special teams had been something that we had talked about a lot on this program and a lot, outside of this program, because it was something that needed some improvement.
Absolutely.
But this week, you saw that improvement.
Let's just be downright honest. It was negative before this, a very negative aspect of what we were doing. And it is a third of the game. Put the snaps together, and it's a huge part of the game. And so for us to finally, the time that we've been spending on it and the efforts we've been spending on it, to see some results is great. Now, like I said, we got to continue to follow it up. But we got the proper people out there now. We feel like we got some of the proper schematically what we're trying to do and what we can do seem to be proper. Like I said, let's make sure. But very happy with that, and just a huge response, and it was a huge difference in the football game.
We'll see if that same success against Yukon can carry over into the Edmond Santa Fe game, which we will be breaking down next here on Inside Tiger Football, presented by Rib Crib.
All in all, there's not a better place to work.
Working at St. Francis is...
Working at St. Francis is...
Working at St. Francis is...
It's very fulfilling.
The work that we do is hard. The work that we do changes people's lives.
It's more than a job.
It's more than a job.
It's more than a job.
It's more than a job. It's a calling.
It's time to update your kitchen, just for you. Kitchen Tune-Up will make your kitchen look and feel transformed. Let's create a kitchen that inspires and uplifts you. Kitchen Tune-Up. Update, upgrade, uplift.
Looking for some iced caffeine, left you in the cold. No one knows why brown water costs as much as liquid gold. Told him your name was Brian, why does this cup say Nicole? But then you found paradise in your cup at the Quick Trip. No regrets to start your day.
Welcome back to Inside Tiger Football, presented by Rib Crib. Edmond Santa Fe on the schedule this week. It's homecoming week. Coach Travis Hill sitting across from me, and that I feel like has to be addressed first. Homecoming is always a big deal. You've got the alumni coming back. There's all the festivities. You're going to have some players out there that are going to go out there and walk out with the girls and try to get homecoming king.
Absolutely.
So a lot of distractions, and how do you try to get the guys to hone in and make sure their eyes are on the right target?
And again, you just it's a sell. You're just trying to say, hey, let's keep things as normal as we can. And let's make our celebration, and sometimes I got to remind them, the reason why we do this is because we're playing a football game, okay, nothing else. So it's a very unsuccessful homecoming unless we win, okay? I don't care whatever else happens, it's not good. So let's go find a way to win a football game, and let's make sure that we, and like I said, I without getting any deep, again, the way I think and some philosophy, but after the game, go enjoy yourself. I mean, that's when it's time that you're a part of it. Go be a kid. Go be a young man. Take care of your business. Like I said, we always handle ourselves properly 24/7, but go be a kid and get away from a little bit. And that's the reason why we don't meet on Saturdays, to be honest with you. Not just because of homecoming, week in and week out. Go do your job and then go enjoy a little bit.
Let's talk about X's and O's now. Edmond Santa Fe, a team that you said is a little bit stronger defensively maybe than offensively, so let's start there. How do you attack their defense?
It's a good Coach Wilson question, but we sit down every Saturday, Sunday, as you well know, and so they're very strong up front. They got we're somewhat fortunate. Everybody is. They actually have another defensive lineman. It's a Baylor or OSU. They've been offered by SEC schools. These are both big kids, 0 and 1. Again, I'm horrible with numbers. Number 1 is not playing at this point in time. Has an injury. I don't know if that's a season-long thing or not, but 0 is. Very strong defensively. Steve Patterson goes way back. Worked with his dad. I've been around. Steve does a great job defensively too, schematically. So they're just a tough team. They're going to be in. Their pieces are going to be in the right place. They're going to do the right thing. Hopefully, we can get a hat on a hat, and if we do, we will. As some of the things we talked about earlier, have a lot of success. But they're not going to give it to you on that side of football. They can make it very, very difficult.
How do you attack a defensive line that's got such talent, and how do you try to run through that? Because obviously you don't, like you talk about dictating, you don't want them to dictate to you, so how do you dictate to them in that case?
So again, it's narrowing it down, and honestly, you got to look and see how 0 plays. He's not the guy to run right at. I mean, that's just not. Why do you want to go in the bar and pick up the biggest, baddest guy there to say, I'm going to fight him. Okay, so, and sometimes you don't want to run away from people because they're so athletic. That makes them better too. But he's the type of guy, we'll run away from him a little bit and work with our other kids, and then just come up with a scheme where we know we're sound and it's easy for us to put a hat on a hat. And if we can do that, we'll win our wars. We'll win our wars over there. And if we do, the big plays will come and the success will come when we do that.
Let's talk about linebackers, defensive backs. Is there anything that stands out to you from those two units on their team?
Well, probably one thing is they're starting tailback and they're starting wide receiver, which are very talented kids. Both play defensively too, so they don't come off the field. Number 14 and number 7, a corner and a safety. 7's their tailback, 14 wide receiver. So, there's talent, but like I said, can they withstand 4 quarters of us hopefully contesting them on down in and down out? If that's the case, I think we can take advantage of that.
Offensively, that team has had some struggles throughout this year, and they are 0-5, but it's easy to see that 0-5 and think you've got this.
Yeah.
I mentioned that earlier, trying to make sure that the team is still focused and not overlooking Edmond Santa Fe could be a challenge. But all that being said, the offense, it's still coming along for the Wolves.
Yeah.
What do you see on that side of the ball for them?
A very talented quarterback. I reference back to Harbor, game 1. Very athletic kid, runs the ball just as well as he throws it. Probably would say we're going to give him the title of quarterback. That's what he's doing over there. I don't know him and his obvious leadership abilities, but I can tell you this: he's a great athlete. He's a good athlete. He's going to be on the football field. So his ability to make things happen with his legs causes you a lot of grief. Not a very solid run game. We just talked about that. Outside of him making some plays, that they struggle a little bit there. And like I said, from a receiver standpoint, pretty conservative. So it's not a sophisticated passing game. A lot of personal, a lot of big protection and with 3 receiver routes. So it's a little easier to defend there. So it'll be interesting if they open up a little bit more, find a few different ways to have success. And I can see that. We try not to defend the what ifs, but we got to look at a couple of them because the what ifs are very simple-minded guy here. If I can think of it, surely they can. But just movement with the quarterback, probably moving the pocket, sprinting out a little bit, more boots, I would say, would be something we would see on their behalf to improve their opportunities to have success on offense.
Well, should be a fun game, Coach, and looking forward to this one. It's homecoming, so always a great atmosphere. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. We'll have the AeroVision pregame show start at 6:30. If you can't make it to the game, tune in on AeroVision. We'll have it for you. Coach Hill, thank you for joining me here on the set, and thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week.